Insurance is a secret sauce to your financial stability. Protecting your wealth is not actually a requirement, but it is wise and very essential. Hello everyone, my name is Amy Muriungi, founder of Care Insurance Agency. Care has been in the insurance field now for the last 9 years, but I have been in the insurance sector for 17 years. How did I find myself in insurance? I get this question a lot. My background is actually in journalism, so I like to think that insurance chose me. It found me, it hooked me, and here I am. So I'll talk a little about my content creation journey. I'm laughing at myself. So I think during COVID, I don't know if it's because we were all recording and talking into a camera and, it was easy. I started wanting to record content in 2020. But imposter syndrome, I just didn't post it. I recorded for myself. So I find these videos, the way Google goes to remember this day. And then you find these videos and I'm like, oh my God. And I never sent it. And I've had so many clients say to me that, Amy, nobody ever explained insurance this way to me. So I excel in one-on-one conversations. But you know what? This is a new year and here I am. This is how life is going to be. So I'm here for you. I want to reach all of you. Fun fact. Did you know that insurance can be traced back to 1600 BC? That's right. In the Roman Empire. So the Romans were known for these elaborate burials. So they'd have burial committees to make sure that when a loved one died, there was money enough to make those beautiful tombstones. If you use Google, you'll see what I'm talking about. What do I mean that insurance is the backbone to your financial security? Let's talk about making sure that your assets, that everything you've worked hard for remains with you, right? Because of life uncertainties, many people have lost their assets. For example, the loss of a breadwinner. You could be the breadwinner. You could have all these ideas. You could have a whole company you're running. Maybe you have a stay-at-home wife. Sometimes now, this gender role is not how it used to be. You could have a stay-at-home husband and the wife is the one who's in a good job, right? And you're acquiring all these assets, you have families. I'd want to ask you, especially if you're a couple or even a single parent or you're a single person, if anything happened to you today, what happens? Especially if you don't have insurance. I'll give you an example. If you needed to get admitted today in a hospital, there is no hospital in Kenya that's taking you in without a deposit. And trust me, you don't have the time to start hopping from one hospital to another, finding the cheapest that would accept you with the money you have available. Take a scenario. Let's do a practical scenario today. Ask yourself, do you have 5 people on speed dial who, if you called right now and asked for them to send you 50,000 shillings, I'm putting bare minimum because an admission would be anywhere from 30 to 100 to... So do you have 5 people on speed dial who you're going to call, ask for them to send you 50,000 shillings instantly because you need to get admitted to hospital, who would be able to do it immediately? Do you have medical insurance? Because then if you don't have medical insurance, that's what you're doing. You're playing a game of chance. And most people will end up here without knowing. To think that insurance can be traced back to such a long time ago, and penetration, especially in this country, is still at 3%. I'm not even sure we've hit 3%, but we've been around that figure for a long while. And why is that? Is it our culture? Is it what we've been told, what we are led to believe about insurance? Is it the lack of knowledge? I'm here to let you understand why insurance is important to you. I know you may be wondering why insurance is important in achieving financial stability. Insurance is like your secret ingredient to a stable financial journey. I'll explain. While many people focus on savings and investments, most people will overlook the importance of protecting their wealth. Insurance acts as a financial shield, ensuring that your hard-earned savings are safe even during life's uncertainties. Let me expound on this. So you've acquired all this wealth. You've probably, let's start with the Gen Zs, okay? You've started this, maybe you're a podcaster, maybe you're doing digital work, you're doing all this online writing, you're doing very well for yourself. And you've acquired your first car, perhaps. Your expenses are pretty minimal because either you've adopted a very safe lifestyle, you're not drinking, you're not partying, you're a stable, or even if you're doing all those things. If anything happened to you, can I predict what would happen? You'd start selling off your assets. Imagine something has happened to you and you're admitted into hospital. You've just left your parents' house. You're now working for yourself. You're trying to build yourself up. But insurance is not one of the things that you're making a priority for. If anything happened to you and you're in hospital, your folks will come in. They know you have a little money, so they're going to put in what they have at the beginning for your admission. But if it got complicated and the bill is piling up, let me tell you what happens in a hospital when you don't have insurance. Every other day, you're getting a report. Every other day, they're telling you this is how far the bill is going. And if the deposit you're put down is not enough, they're asking you to ask your people to bring in money. And so, first your car goes, either the title deed the logbook comes into the hospital is now holding your logbook as they try to find a buyer because you have to pay. Let's say it all goes well and now you're leaving the hospital and you need to leave unless you can come up, and at that point, because now you're able to perhaps withdraw from your money market if that's what you've started, or your shares in the circle you're going to borrow. What do you think you're doing? You're eating into your wealth. So insurance, and this could happen to anyone. I've said, let me talk to the Gen Zs, but this could happen to any of us. It can happen to the millennials. It can happen to the Gen Xs. It can happen even to baby boomers. So insurance is your secret ingredient to a stable financial journey. While many people will focus on the investments and the savings, we often overlook how insurance comes in to protect you. Okay? Insurance acts as your financial guard. You know that angel? You need insurance. Insurance is your secret angel. Insurance is that one friend who's not about to fail you if you have them on your side. Okay? So you need insurance to be able to protect your hard-earned assets. Nobody wants to walk into hospital and you're paying out of pocket. Trust me. Do you want to pay out of pocket? Do you want to be asked to do an MRI out of the blue just because maybe you had a stomachache or a headache that's not going? Do you want to withdraw from your other investments so that you're in hospital to seek treatment? I don't think so. Do you want to go and borrow so that you can get treatment? We all know that there are only a handful of people who are coming to your rescue if you're in an emergency. And I know Kenyans are tired of those WhatsApp groups. Are you tired of those WhatsApp groups where you just keep getting added to one thing or another? But you have to. And yet you also still have your own issues and you have your own budgets and things are thick. So sometimes even when you're added to this WhatsApp group, you're probably in a tight spot and you're not able to do it. Yet insurance would have come to the rescue. So I don't know how to lay the emphasis that insurance is actually a necessity. It should be one of the basic needs of every human being. let me say, in this line of work, I have seen every case scenario that could happen. I have seen families where there's been the loss of a breadwinner suddenly due to accidents. During COVID, we saw how illness did not choose. It was not based on age or race or, your financial status. I know a few people, and this one particular case in particular, this person was in a stable job. He's a pilot. Okay, let me just put it out. And he was diagnosed with, and he was a retired pilot. And so he has some money, you're in business, you're doing well. But you get admitted to hospital due to COVID. And insurance at the point did not know, do we cover calamities such as this? It was a gray area. So insurance providers at the time, apart from international medical providers, the local medical were capping it. So you'd go to hospital, yes, you have a big cover, and the insurance provider would be like, no, we're only going to cover to a certain limit. And so what was this person left to do? This and many others. Stories can be told about this. You need to now start going. You're liquidating you're going to the bank, you're withdrawing whatever you can. You're trying to liquidate assets. Who's buying? It was lockdown. It was COVID time. Nobody's buying assets. So maybe you're giving a friend to hold off as a loan, to hold it for you as they lend you the money so that you can seek treatment. This one particular case, I know his bill ranked up over 6 million shillings. Okay? And it took a dent. This is somebody I met up later, and he could tell you it took up, when things were starting to open up, he was in a debt, he was in debt, and it had taken a toll on his finances completely, your assets. So insurance, because of things that we cannot predict when we're going to have an accident, we cannot predict when we're going to be ill, you cannot predict just certain things that happen. And not only to our bodies. When we talk about assets, do you remember the floods? Did you see big homes submerged in water? Imagine the multitude of losses in those houses. People's cars. I had a client who drove back into Nairobi, and he used to drive a Mercedes A350, and water damage. If you know anything about the German machines, if you get too much water into the engine, it conked out. Luckily, he had good insurance for his car. So after a couple of many weeks, investigations and ABCD, of course the engine was dead, he was able to get refunded. But imagine if he didn't have insurance. What's that magnitude of the loss that you're making? We have people who put in their money. You've retired, or you're in your forever home. You've built this big home, you've filled it up with all these souvenirs, your favorite watches, if you're a collector. You've not put them in the safe. They're at home. They're safe at home, okay? We have homes that were flooded in Runda. We have homes that were flooded in places in Athi River. Big homes. If you think about all the electronics that got messed up, I wonder how many of those homes had insurance. I could give many scenarios. We've seen people being accidents and you're paralyzed. Your life just changes and you're incapacitated forever. So life has changed. You're still alive, okay? And now you need care 24/7. So lucky you if you have a good partner, you chose correctly, and they're able to take care of you if they're financially stable. Lucky you if you have a good family that's able to step in and take care of you. But if you went to some of these victims who fallen prey to, illness or accidents, they'll tell you how lonely it gets. Because people will avoid you because maybe they know there's a financial need and they're not able to step in. So what do? They avoid you. Right? So you need to talk to I don't know who your insurance agents are or your brokers. And if you have any questions, reach out to us. Our number, our email is down below. This is what we love to do, to help you secure your wealth, to help you secure your loved ones, to make sure that you don't go into any losses. So insurance can be very broad, okay? Insurance is such a broad subject and quite boring, so stick with me. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. So legacy planning. I don't know why it is when I speak to clients at the beginning, I mean, now I'm finding people who are more receptive, and I'm so glad that information is out here. You can ask questions. Thank God for internet. Thank God for social media. If you use it wisely, you can really educate yourself. Okay? So insurance and legacy planning. Even after you've acquired all the wealth in the world, even when you've put up homes, like you have rentals or you have a big business running and you're doing very well, if anything happened to you, did you know your loved ones cannot really access any of your properties unless you've done it correctly? Did you know that? Why? Succession. If there's anything that can quickly divide a family, it's after the death of a very important person in that home. The stories can be told. I'm sure we've all experienced them. They're around you. If you've not experienced it yourself, your friends have experienced it or you've heard about it. Did you know that in case somebody died, so you're the breadwinner, I'm going to talk to you who's listening to me. You're here because this is working for you. You're the breadwinner. If anything happened to you today and you had not put things in place, that means your partner, wife or husband, cannot access your bank account unless they do succession. That means it has to go through probate. That means they have to go through to court. Okay? That's the only way the bank will actually allow your life partner to be able to access the funds you have in the account. One, to you if your partner was a stay-at-home and you were the main provider. Okay? If children needed to go to school, that means what? They've stalled. If you've left and didn't have proper policies like life insurance in place, what's happening to your children? Somebody is downgrading these children to a cheaper school. They're downgrading from the house they were living in. Do you understand that? So, insurance in legacy planning is very important. One, life insurance in particular. Life insurance acts as your cash estate. Life insurance is the first thing that can be paid out and that cannot be contested in a court of law. Did you know that? That whoever you put down as a beneficiary in your life insurance policy, it cannot be contested in a court of law. Okay? So in legacy planning, so when we're adulting, right? When we're adulting and you're in the way of family, you're creating a family, you've gone, you have a wife, you have a husband, you have children. These are conversations we have to start normalizing, but we don't. We don't do it. We leave it to a game of chance. So insurance can come in for legacy planning. That's for inheritance. Also, did you know you can get reduced taxes because you have a life insurance policy? Also, insurance comes in to make sure there's a smooth transition and transfer of wealth to your loved ones. It spares your family from dealing with complicated situations. Are you wondering if insurance can help with both protection and financial growth? Absolutely and certainly. So insurance plans not only provide protection but also can be used as investment tools. They grow in value over time while offering tax benefits. It's like having the best of both worlds. For example, if the government recently has put it out that they're going to increase how much more that individuals who are employed must contribute to the National Social Security Fund. Okay? Well, it's a good thing. I feel maybe the way it's been implemented could have been done better, but hey. What you need to know is that the government gives you tax relief. That if you can prove you have an insurance policy for life, for pension, the savings plans, you get 5% off the premium that you're paying to a maximum of 60,000 shillings per annum. This 5% you're getting off, you're getting it off on your payee. Okay? So if your premium is 5,000 shillings, 5% of the 5,000 shillings is being reduced from your pay as you earn. But we don't take advantage of it, do we? So, did you know that Kenya was ranked among the country that has the poorest retirees? Did you know that? And what does that mean really when you think about that? I don't know what. So for me, my mom was a civil servant. And one of the things she keeps lamenting about is, had she known that she could put more away for herself, she would have done it. But we get comfortable, especially, I'm sorry, don't come for me. The civil servants, the people in the parastatals, but now there's a bit more education that's going into it. People get comfortable with the pension. You know, you're working for the government used to be you're permanent and pensionable. We all wanted jobs. Oh my gosh, I'll tell you, in my 20s, I only wanted to work for the government. I wanted to be a civil servant because I wanted to be permanent and pensionable. You knew you got into a job and you were in that job for life. Okay? And it still happens, but I know now some of the ministries and some of the parastatals, it's different, and you have to get a contract every 3 years, renewable, and they pay you, you negotiate. It's different right now. But why do we have the poorest pensioners? Most people have gone into offices where you're going to talk to pre-pensioners, okay? And I like that the government, one thing I must commend them for, and what I've realized is that now the payslip for a government employee comes with your retirement date. Every month you have, at the bottom it shows your retirement age. And that should trigger something. That should ask you to plan. Most of us never look at retirement. We never think about, what will I need at retirement? And what does retirement look for you? Does retirement look like, are you one who's going to be at the beach, you know, you're having it easy, you have a condo next to the water, you know? Or is retirement traveling? Maybe your children have left the country and you want to travel and go everywhere. Or is retirement, you've gone to shags and now you're farming? The thing we don't think about is, yes, all that is okay. You could build a home in shags, put a few cows, you could have that home already at the beach. But most and the majority we found is that at retirement is when people now take the money and they're expecting the lump sum, and that's when they want to go and build. At that point of retirement is when you're thinking, okay, now I have time to go and build my country home. At that time is when you're thinking, let me now, you know, build my forever home at retirement. And then at that time it's too late. So what would happen before is that you got your golden handshake, you got your check, and within 2 years, these retirees were broke. Totally broke. You need medical insurance post-retirement. You need to make sure that you have medical insurance. You need to make sure that you have a little bit of money to move you from A to B. And if you don't plan, you know what's happened previously? We have black tax. You know what black tax is? Black tax is the expectation that your children get that they have to take care of you because you educated them, whether you educated them or not, but because they're the parents, you are required to take care of them. That's what we call black tax. And you'll find, and I have seen, people who are totally paralyzed because of black tax. That you're not even able to build your family because their needs at home and the obligation, especially for the African setting, there's an obligation towards your parents. It goes without saying. And I'm not saying don't help your parents. I'm just saying we must be the next generation that stops the black tax. It stops with us. And it stops with us planning for our retirement. And insurance falls insurance is the only way to be able, it's part of the way to do it. Okay? As soon as you start working as a 20-year-old as soon as you start working, retirement planning should start at that point. You don't wait to be older to start retirement, because then what you start doing is a catch-up game. But if you took advantage of what we call compounding interest, if you took advantage of time, because what you have as a youth is time on your hands, and so very little will go far. You just start thinking about older you and your older self and what life you want for that person. And you have to start planning for it now. So insurance policies can be customized. All insurance policies can be customized. That's why even health plans can be customized. Let's start there. It should all be about your need. Don't buy a policy just because your insurance agent said, Nunua, this is it, don't do that. That's why we have people who are disgruntled. You need to understand what are your needs and how will they accommodate you. I've met many people who signed up for the savings plans, especially. Signed up for savings plans a long time ago and education plans, but they bought because the agent said, buy for 5,000, buy for 10,000. Okay? And when it got to the time, you've been paying for 15 years, but when you look back at how much you're getting back, it doesn't make sense. So anytime you start planning those investments, you must have a goal in mind. You must always have a goal in mind. What do you want to achieve? In how long do you want to achieve it? How much do you need at that point? What's your disposable income? Because also you don't want to put in too much and then you're suffering and then you default on your policy. It needs to be a very well thought out plan, and a good agent will ensure that you're doing a balance sheet. We're looking at your expenses, your daily expenses, your monthly expenses, the essentials that you must have. And then we're looking at what can you cut out and actually be able to live without to be able to achieve this other goal. So yes, insurance policies can be customized. Okay. Medical insurance should also be, it's not one size fits all. You could be in a family where people are very prone to dental issues. Then you need to have dental. You could be in a family where there's an inherited sort of chronic illness. When you're buying your insurance, you need to look at your chronic limits, just to ensure that the cover suits your needs. If you're a family and you really don't have people who use the outpatient much, and your children are grown, this is a tip, and your children are grown, that means you really don't do much of the outpatient. So save money. You really don't need the outpatient. Have the inpatient cover alone, because really, you know what? That's where rubber hits the road. That's what would bankrupt you, having to pay inpatient costs. Outpatient, if you ask me, I feel like many people would be able to afford that. But the inpatient part, that's the hardest. So insurance, as soon as we stop thinking about insurance being an option, we'll realize that insurance is not just your safety net, it's your long-term strategy to financial success. Okay? So at ASK Insurance Agency, we specialize in creating personalized plans to safeguard your wealth, to secure your future. Real wealth isn't just about earning, it's about protecting what you've earned. So how can you get started with insurance? It's simple. Let's have a conversation to discuss your specific needs and goals. Together, we'll create a plan that suits you, that's unique to you. If you're ready for the next step, reach out. The name of this podcast is ASK Talks. So my idea of wanting to start the podcast was, one, I need to reach the masses. I have been able to secure some very wealthy families, okay? And my business has grown from word of mouth, one to another. But I found there's the majority of Kenyans who are still not too sure about insurance, who don't know where to go, they don't know from whom they can get this information. And I thought, you know what? This is my way to give back. This is me putting myself out here for questions. We brush off insurance, and insurance is not a very easy topic or a very easy job either. Well, I think it's easy. I find it easy, but most people don't. And most people who find that this is what I do now, like, oh, how do you do it? So I'm here to help you. That's the one reason why I've started this podcast, is to engage with you, is to put info out here. So what we're going to do here, we're going to talk about insurance as a whole. Different topics. We're going to demystify insurance. We're going to demystify life insurance. We're going to demystify domestic insurance. The plan is to be able to bring in experts who can come and clarify these issues. You'll find some of the reasons. What I realized is most people who have a bad taste for insurance have had a nasty experience. But the nasty experience was either created because of lack of information or not understanding. So insurance has a lot of jargon. It's almost like law when you're reading those policy documents. And I can be guilty as charged because sometimes I have not read everything. Just sign and you give it because it's too much. So I'm here to just simplify insurance for you, so that you're out there protected and with all the information that you need. Hey, listen. If you're not listening to me, who are you listening to? You need to listen to me. I hope to help you. So the ideal target audience, I find the average age of my clients has been 38-year-olds. That's been my average age, it's 38. But my eldest client, who's been with me for 8 years, and I'm very proud, turned 87. He turned 87 last July. This is his 88th year. He's still very sharp. And from him, he introduced me to his sons, his daughter. So I'm also now doing insurance for them. That's the sort of insurance. I want to be your trusted buddy. I want to be the one who starts you off on this journey, and you never know. Your children, your children's children. Start early. I know we have a craze right now for the one tip for Gen Zs. I know there's a craze right now for money market. Yes, please, you need it. The money market can be where you park your money before you put it in investments or whatever. But that is not your insurance. Please, Gen Z, you don't want to go back to your folks to take care of you. You need to have some sort of medical insurance, whether inpatient only. You need to think about your life insurance. And what you have on your side is age. It's so reasonably priced at this point. No, sacrifice that one pair of shoes, sacrifice that one outing, that Naivasha ride. Sacrifice something for your future. And think of retirement now. If you want to have an illustration, tell me how much you can spare, and I'll give you an illustration of what it would look like for at retirement, because what you have is correct age and time on your hands. Take advantage of it. I'm not saying don't enjoy life. I'm just saying what's the most important insurance to get? That's a loaded question. I don't know that there's one insurance that one outweighs another. I find so Gen Z's now, you have the very expensive phone, you have your camera, because everybody now is on TikTok and has ring lights and has all these things. Have you insured that stuff? I bet you will save up for a trip to Mombasa before you think about insuring how you're making your bread and butter. So is there any... I can't say there's one insurance that's more important than the other. First, insure your life, okay? Because if you became incapacitated, anything you're doing, you won't be able to do it. And there's nothing, I think, more depressing than being in a place where you're not able to do anything and your friends are not coming in to rescue you. Please be sure. Be sure they'll be there for a little while and then you're on your own. So for future episodes, look out for specific topics and going in depth on specific topics. Like I'd want to, are you wondering if you really need medical insurance? That will be the first topic we go into. Medical Insurance 101. What you need to know, what you need to look out for when you're buying the cover, how to look for a good cover, and how to know you're getting your money's worth. It's very important to do your own homework, okay? It's very important. You could take my word for it, but I actually would prefer, my preferred client is a client who comes informed. My client who's done a bit of research and is saying, hey, I saw this company, there were problems with ABCD, I've seen complaints about ABCD. Then we can counter that, or we can go through that and I explain it. So it's very important, one, to do your due diligence. Very, very important. Look for companies that are stable. Look for companies, how have they been doing? Are they being slapped with lawsuits? What's going on with this particular company as you choose? Very important to do your due diligence, find out what's the history of this company. You might not find everything, but just go on until you feel comfortable. Okay? I have a knack, I only work with like the tier 1 insurance companies. And why? It's because I want my clients secure. Sometimes cheap is very expensive. Cheap can cost you, and where I'm concerned, my name is very important. I would not want to be associated with that. One, if you're looking to have personalized service, we pride ourselves. Our motto is care you can believe in, and we specialize in medical and life insurance, both for international providers and local providers. We have had a steady record. I dare say I have kept 100% of my book at renewal. So my clients have become my friends. I know my clients, like my eldest client, you're the point where you know his children, you know their partners. You're about to learn that their children's children. That's the sort of service you're going to get. You want to go where you feel like home. You want to go where you're calling and you're not you're not having to talk to 500 people before you get your answer. That's why you should come to us. So guys, stick with me. Walk this journey with me. There are no wrong or right answers. There are no appropriate and inappropriate questions. Insurance, concerned with insurance, okay? So if you have any questions, if you need any clarifications, please reach out. Leave a comment, inbox. Strictly keep it professional, right? And you can have your free consultation. I look forward to serving you. Bye-bye.